All right, so our goal every week at Liquid Soap is to improve your business. It's not just about selling soap. That's not what we're about. We are a world-class direct sales enhancement company. Our goal is to constantly bring you tools that will help you sell more so you make more money. And that's always our intention. And we do that in a variety of ways. My name's Harry Singer. I've been in the water business since 1983. I've been training salespeople for a very long time. And I do a lot of business consulting, and I take a lot of things that I learned from other people, steal them, and present them to you. So hopefully this will improve your business. So today I want to talk about continuous improvement. And in this cycle of continuous improvement, I want to talk about success being a process. And success is putting a goal in the middle and doing a strategies and doing 99 things right to reach that goal of what you're trying to accomplish. And the concept of today's strategy process is going to be quality salespeople. So if you look at increasing process, if you look at increased profits as our goal, there's a lot of ways to reach there. One of the 99 things you can do right would be hiring quality salespeople. Now this is interesting because if you look at qualified leads and enthusiastic presentations and adding more value than cost and financing and great installers, that's all part of the process. And what I'm going to do over the next few months is break every one of these processes down, and then on a Tuesday meeting we'll identify each one and we'll break down that process a little bit further so that you can constantly work on continuing to improve your business. So if we now move quality salespeople to the center of our goal, and hopefully you're on our webinar and you're following this. If not, imagine a circle, and in the circle we put quality salespeople, and then we look at the quality salespeople and we take one aspect of hiring quality salespeople, and that starts with great recruiting. So today I'm going to talk about what it takes to find quality salespeople, because you can be the best basketball coach in the world, but if you have an extremely short team and you're playing a team with really tall people, it's going to be extremely difficult to compete. Bill Self, who is the coach of the Kansas Jayhawks, is also known as one of the best recruiters, and the guy has won consistently over and over and over. Every program he's been at, he's won. And I use basketball because it's very exciting, and KU's in the Final Four for you basketball fans, and I think Bill Self's done an amazing job. But it started with the fact that the guy is a brilliant recruiter. And then he develops his talent, and then he works on defense. It takes so many things to be successful. It takes a lot to make it to the Final Four. It's not just having great salespeople that are going to get you, or great basketball players alone that get you to the Final Four. It takes a whole bunch of things to get you to the Final Four. And so what we're going to talk about today is how do we get you where you're lined up and you have the team in place. So it's something to think about. So let's take a closer look at your sales force. And sometimes that's a difficult process, but when you really put your sales force under the magnifying glass, what do you see? And you have to ask yourself that question. So one of the most important things you have to look at is you have to track your results. And most people in this industry do a pretty good job of tracking results. Occasionally I talk to somebody and they really aren't doing anything to track the results. That'd be like playing any professional sport and not knowing where you stand, and then at the end of the season you go, I don't know, how'd we do? Well, you only won one game. Really? I thought it was better than that. It's ridiculous. You have to track your stats. You have to track everything about your business. Primarily, you want to look at what are our sales? Are we making good sales? Yeah, we sold 30 systems, but our gross selling price is way down. Or we sold 30 systems and we held our gross, but we have 40 sales reps. So you have to know your closing rate. You want to know how many reps, how many demos each rep is running. You have to keep and monitor that, because the bottom line is, if you don't know where you are, you can't really plan on where you're going to go. And a lot of this is simple. If you need more help on tracking results, let us know. We can help you individually, but most of you know this by now and you're doing this. But you have to measure where you've been, where you are, how you did last month, where this month looked like a year ago or 2 years ago, and look at the trends and always be looking and measuring those results. But here's the most important thing that you can look at, and it's a mistake that I know I made when I was running my water treatment dealership, and we always ran between 15 and 20 sales reps. And what's funny is you gave the most attention to the least quality sales rep, because I'm kind of a caretaker person and I couldn't stand to see people fail. I wish I would have heard this presentation and know what I knew today. 25 years ago, I would have made a lot more money and saved a lot of time. Because here's the bottom line. You can't teach pigs to fly. It's the Department of Impossibilities. Pigs aren't going to fly. And what that means is, if you have reps and they just can't sell, and they don't have the core basic personality to make it in this business, leads are just too expensive. One of the biggest reasons dealerships fail is because they spend too much money getting in the door. Well, really what it is they spend so much money to get in the door, but they're so ineffective in closing that the lead cost actually goes up. This is all part of that incredible success process. But it starts with having the right team in place, and sometimes it takes having the guts to give somebody a new opportunity in life. But that starts with being able to measure the results. If a guy goes 0 for 20, that's a serious issue. You don't let a guy in a basketball game keep shooting three-pointers if he's never made one. You fix that in practice, or you determine this guy's got to drive through the paint and score. He's not going to be a perimeter shooter. And maybe some of your reps just have no business being in your business. Maybe they need a new opportunity in life. That doesn't make them good or bad people. It just doesn't mean the opportunity fits. So if somebody doesn't have the core personality or the core strengths to make it, what you have to do is have the guts to let them go. Because what's really expensive is getting in the door. It's difficult, and therefore we have to maximize our results. You have to be focused on how can you maximize your results, and today's topic is putting the right team together. This guy's got to go. He's not going to sell, no one's going to buy, and he's just wasting your time. Now this guy's interesting. If you're watching the seminar, there's a guy laying on a beach, and he's working on a computer drawing in the sand. What he is a high performer, but he doesn't work. Not a good guy to have leading your sales force. He may be okay to keep around, but he can be epidemically bad in your sales force if this guy is on the beach more than he's working. What you really want to look at more than anything is who's leading the pack in your office. If you want to see sales accelerate, you got to have a guy out in front of the pack. You got to have the guy. You got to have the star player that everyone plays up to that level. You got to have the guy that everyone knows is the guy, and he better be closing 60 or 70%. If that's how you get the team to play up to its level. If mediocrity is accepted in your office, then your best guy who's out on the beach more than he's working, that's going to be the accepted practice. So one of the interesting things to do is to really analyze what qualities make a standout rep. And there's a lot of research and there's a lot of information on the internet that you can read about. Just Google some of this stuff, and people have published all sorts of things. as owners and sales managers, you have to become better at your job. You have to learn. You have to be dedicated. And you can't assume just because you've been in this industry for 15 or 20 years that you know it all. The good news about this is I know there's no one on this call that that's applicable to, or you wouldn't be on this call. So congratulate yourselves because you're doing the right thing. And that's what I do on a constant basis is I read and learn and assimilate information because I'm forced to, because I do these calls. These calls are the best things that I can do because I learn a lot. I don't make this stuff up. I just steal it from other people. There's just almost unlimited information out there. It's just spending 20 or 30 minutes a day to tip your hand in the right direction. So when you look at what qualities make a standout rep, list them. What does it really take to be an extraordinary salesperson, particularly in this industry, because this is really hard? I always thought if you could sell good water at a consistent basis, you would never starve. Even though it's a great product to sell, when you go into somebody's house cold and you convince them to spend $6,000 or $7,000 in a couple of hours, that's some serious selling going on. That's why this business is so hard, and that's why it's not for the timid and it's not for everybody. It takes a lot to do this consistently. So let's look at the 6 or 7 top things that you're looking for. First of all, if you're interviewing, a couple of questions you can ask are, what are your goals? What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? What do you hope to accomplish? Where do you hope to be in 5 years? I'm going to tell you right now, if a guy can't answer that with some passion and enthusiasm, he's either going to need a lot of training or he's not the guy. Great salespeople are results-oriented. Great salespeople see their goals and they do what it takes to get there. So these are questions you might want to write down. These are questions you might want to consider. But the whole mission here of this presentation is to get you to think about how to recruit great people, because it's a really good starting point to start succeeding higher. Great people help recruit other great people. Great people pull up the rest of the team. Put your team under that microscope and answer honestly. Now's the greatest time we've had in a long time to hire people. There are a lot of talented people out of work. You have an incredible opportunity to offer people. Your job ultimately is to sell people on selling good water. To the degree that you do that is ultimately how you succeed. Don't accept mediocrity. Look for courageous people. This is a tough job. Look for people that have overcome challenges. Athletes are good to hire. Look for people that understand that they can look the shark in the mouth and not swim away being afraid. Your reps have to be more afraid of failure than they do of rejection. Your reps have to be more afraid of themselves and how they're going to feel when they walk out the door than they fear the client. You have to be super courageous to make it in the home. Ask these questions. Do you describe yourself as a courageous person? Give me an example of that. When have you faced adversity and overcome it? When have you been challenged and not walked away? These are the questions you need to be asking in the interviews. A lot of people, when they interview, spend more time recruiting. I'm really guilty of that. I spend more time recruiting because I love to sell and not really dissecting and putting people under a microscope. Hiring's an art form. I try to get better at it. It's one of my biggest weaknesses. I can talk anybody come to work for me. It's just sometimes you don't like it when they do. It's good for me to do these because if you want to learn more, teach stuff. Most of the time I learn more than this than I think the people listening. These are points that when you're interviewing changes everything. Ask yourself about your existing sales force. Are they goal-oriented? Are they courageous? Here's a good one, high energy. If you don't have high energy, it's really hard to make it in this business. It's hard to go out and put on a 2-hour demonstration and then leave and be rejected, drive 40 minutes and get to another house. You got to have a special drive within to run 2 or 3 appointments in a day, especially if you're not selling. If you're selling and they energize you. If you're not selling, it gets tough. And when you go 5, 6, 7, 8 demos without a sell, you better be fixing it and realizing that there's going to be a solution. It's like going out to play golf and just constantly teeing off into the woods. It makes it for a really long day. A lot of broken and missing clubs, where you just quit golfing altogether. If you knew for a fact every time you got up to swing you're hitting it into the woods, it doesn't make the game very much fun. Here's one that's really hard to know, but great poker players, and that's Phil Ivey, one of the best poker players in the world. They know people, they read people, they watch people, they react to people. That's what you have to do when you're in the home. You have to be able to read people. Good question. Ask the reps. Are they reading the people in the home? Do they do the same thing? Are they taking the signs? Do they look for the tails? The great reps can do that. Some of that's really hard to teach. You're never going to be a great center in the NBA if you're 5'2". You got to look for raw talent and then develop the talent. But if the talent doesn't exist, you can't teach pigs to fly. And you have to find people that are committed to improvement. Are they coachable? The most talented reps don't always make the best reps. I would rather find a guy that was coachable, that was willing to learn, that had the core personality than the cocky, arrogant sales rep that walks in, that thinks that they know everything, that are set in their ways. They're really difficult to train. During the interview process, are you committed to improvement? Tell me how you've improved as a salesperson. Tell me what you do to improve. Tell me in your past jobs what you've done to become better, what you've done to lead the pack. Find out what else people have done in life to get better without constant instruction. With the internet, there's just no excuse for mediocrity. You can literally learn anything. There's YouTube videos teaching you everything. The greatest sales trainers in the world have posted up free information. There's blogs, and every time I read anything, I learn something. The people that are highly successful in life are constantly learning. People like yourselves on this call. You guys are the winners. You're on this call. There's a lot of people we invited and they didn't show up to the call. I talk to people that have been in this industry for 15 years. They don't want to know anything. They blame external problems on everything. They suck their thumbs and they wallow in mediocrity and they blame the world for their shortcomings. They blame the business. They blame everything. It's constant improvement, commitment to improvement. Here's another thing. How committed is your sales force? This is an old saying, one of my favorites. When you have bacon and eggs, the pig was committed, the chicken was involved. We're looking for pigs. That means you don't quit. That means you stay and you've given your life to this business, at least for as long as you're there, you're committed to becoming excellent. You have to demand commitment from your salespeople, particularly the new ones, because they're going to want to quit. The funny thing is I heard Brian Tracy on a tape when I was just starting in the water business in 1983, and he was talking about this very thing, about commitment. And when I started, I said, you know what? I'm going to buy into everything they're telling me. They're not asking for any money. They provide me the leads. I show up at 4 o'clock. I sell. They pay me 3 days later. This is a pretty good gig. I had just gotten burned by a company that owed me about $50,000 in commissions. I thought I was killing it right out of college, and I ended up getting screwed. Somebody asked, the pig was committed, the chicken was involved. So the chicken just laid the eggs and walked away. So Pigs committed, chickens involved. So the bottom line is, I said to myself, I'm going to commit to this, and no matter what happens, I'm staying here for 6 months. And there was at least 50 times that I wanted to quit. There was 20 people in the same training class. 3 weeks later, I was the only one left. Nobody at this dealership knew what they were doing. It had just started. It was a disaster. Nobody knew anything. And I just kept asking myself, how can I get better? How can I sell more? And it just kept evolving and evolving. And 9 months later, I had gotten really good at selling this. The dealership was a disaster and about to go out of business. And I went to my soon-to-be business partner. I said, give me half your company and I'll save it for you. I was committed. That's what you got to get out of your reps. For that, and in this business, I became a multimillionaire by the time I was 30 years old because of the water business. I've used my experience in the water business for the last 25 years to still and continue to make money. You need to tell stories like this to your reps, and you need to get people committed. Amway was brilliant at this, of getting people committed to the 5-year plan. It's a $6 billion company where very few people ever make any money, but they're brilliant at getting people committed. That's what you have to do is, how many of your reps are committed? How many of them are looking for another job? How many of them would walk out your door if somebody just offered them 40 grand a year in salary? So we're looking for pigs. And when you hire people in the first few days of training, you got to get them to commit. They've got to be with you long enough to learn this business. You don't become a doctor or a lawyer and make $100,000 a year in 4 weeks. This business, I know people making $200,000 and $300,000 a year as a salesperson. This is an amazing business. Where else can you go out and make? A lot of people are making $1,200 in a night. You show up, somebody hands you a lead, does all the work. All you got to do is go put on a little bit of a TV commercial, an infomercial, which is what this is a live interactive infomercial. And you can make $1,200. You don't have to install the unit. You don't have to deal with the people again. It's an incredible business. There's no excuse for not making $20,000 to $30,000 a month if you're selling water. If something ever happened, the first thing I'd do is go find somebody, give me a job, pay me $1,500 a sale, and I'd just go out and sell water. Life would be a piece of cake. These guys have no idea how good they have it, and they need to be committed. And you need to be committed to selling this to people. You need to stand tall, and when you're recruiting, recruit the good and throw the bad out your door. Dedication. It's the will to win is important, but the will to prepare is vital. People have to be getting better at this. And it's not just you spoon feeding them. A lot of people get worse at this. The more demos they do, they lose that loving feeling. They're actually getting worse. So here's your job. It's to constantly be looking and finding good reps. They could be right next to you, and you don't know. Here's my statement. Always be recruiting. Put a bounty out. Tell your reps, bring me a really good salesperson and I'll give you $100 on their first 20 sales. Give them $200 on their first 20 sales. Put a bounty out. You're going out into homes, and a lot of places I recruited people was when I was selling good water. Well, we can't buy it right now. We don't have a job. Well, what do? Well, why don't you give them a job? I hired installers that way, and I hired a lot of salespeople that way. Are your people looking for people? You're going into lots of homes. What else can you do with the people? Rainbow Vacuums is brilliant at this. They recruit everybody. They call it their part-time job. They're selling about 50,000 vacuums a month. It's pretty amazing. In this day, you can still sell a $2,000 vacuum. And Rainbow's brilliant at getting referrals, and they're brilliant at recruiting everybody they come into contact with. It's easier for them because they don't give out appointments. They make their people get their own appointments. In our business, it's tough because most of us provide appointments, which means we got to recruit excellent people. Always be recruiting. Who are you playing golf with? Who are you next to? Who's in your church? Always be recruiting. So you got to get the word out, and today it's easier to get the word out than ever before. There's a multitude of methods, but ultimately, if you turn one of your objectives to hire the greatest quality sales force ever, training's a lot easier. It's a lot more fun to go to work. It's just really cool. You got social media. That takes some work, but if you're on it anyway, doesn't hurt to find people on Facebook, MySpace, LinkedIn, Twitter. There's a zillion ways to find people. Always be recruiting. Do you have a sign in front of your dealership? Now hiring great quality salespeople? Do you have it on the back of your business cards? There's nothing embarrassing about being proud of what you offer people. When you go to a home show, have you put a sign up that says hiring quality salespeople? If 50,000 people walk by you during a 3 or 4 day home show, it takes one guy to change everything. It takes that one guy to come in that just gets it. I found one maybe every 6 months in my dealership. All of a sudden a guy would walk in, he comes in, and he sells 15 or 20 units in a month. In 1985, I had a guy named Joe Calhoun walk into my dealership, and Joe and I are still friends. He's a professional speaker and sales trainer, and Joe changed everything for me. Joe came in and knew how to set goals and was just this incredible machine. He needed money, and he came in and he started selling 20 deals a month, and the rest of my guys that thought they were winners came up and they started selling 10 and 12, and we had our best year ever. It was extraordinary to watch and changed my attitude and my expectations forever. And to this day, I'm still friends with Joe Calhoun. You can Google him. He just wrote a book. Great guy. Changed and had huge impact on my company. One guy. He was a difference maker. I was young. I'd only owned the business maybe a year and a half. I didn't even know what I didn't know. So find that difference maker. Make sure that everybody knows that the opportunity is at the next exit with you. Spread the word and find the guy that's going to turn you on and make a difference. We went from being at the bottom of the pack to leading the pack. We went from selling like 30 units and thinking that was a good month to selling 120 units. There's just so many things that make it click, but one of them's having that great team put together. In other words, see a target on everybody's face. That's what I do. How is this person going to enrich my life? Am I going to recruit him to work for me? Am I going to sell him good water? The more you're committed to your business, the better you'll sell this opportunity. So it's a real simple process. You have to screen. You constantly are filtering people into the funnel. You need to have a good profile of what you're looking for. You have to know what makes a good sales rep. You got to really take a look at this profile and say, what makes a good rep? Become great at interviewing and recruiting, but really become great at getting people through the funnel, so ultimately you get incredible salespeople. 6 good salespeople will outsell 20 crappy salespeople. 6 guys that are dedicated and committed can rule the world. That's the real issue. There are some questions popping up, and I'll get to those in a minute. So I see them, and I appreciate them. And go ahead and you can type them in there on the right side of your screen, and I'll go over them, and we'll get there. But the real key is to profile, interview salespeople. But if you're not getting them in the door and you can't even interview them, then you've got a problem, which goes back to always be recruiting. This entire process, it takes doing 99 things right as well. I'll tell you another place I found great salespeople, waiters and waitresses. They're used to selling, they're used to working on commission, they're used to working at night, and it's real easy to interview them because you can see, how's the food? It's all right. Find enthusiastic waiters. Great waiters are like great salespeople. They make the experience a lot more enjoyable. So the goal is to hire only the outstanding. And the better you get at that, the easier it is to hire more outstanding people. And just remember that it's the only thing and the only difference between impossible and possible is I am. I am the difference between impossible and possible. Raise your expectations. I preach that a lot because it's the biggest difference. Thoughts are things. They've proven that positive thinking affects every cell in your body and negative thinking affects every cell in your body. Start thinking about the possible and realize you're the only difference. I am the difference between possible and impossible. Even if you have all the talent in the world, you can't play hockey if you can't skate. We got to get your reps basic training. We got to constantly help improve them. We've got to give them the proper equipment, the proper tools, the proper atmosphere. You can't play hockey, at least ice hockey, if you don't have any ice or if the ice is water. We got to put them in the right environment. So the other thing that you have to give your salespeople is expert advice. You have to motivate them. You have to give them vision, confidence. It takes a lot to mold a really good salesperson. And they need to practice. If a guy goes 4 presentations without a sale, somebody ought to ride with him or bring him in and film him. It's like filming your golf swing. You're saying things you don't even know that you're doing. You're making comments in the house, or you're not doing the presentation with that loving feeling. It's so hard to succeed in this business, just like it's so hard to become awesome at golf. Even Tiger Woods, he hadn't won a major in 2 years. He has all the talent in the world, but his head's messed up. Or if you're injured, it's the same way. You just got to keep working at it. He's committed to golf. He'll be back. He won last week. He'll be back. And sometimes great reps fall off. They go in slumps, but somebody's got to help them. Somebody's got to get them back and get them to adjust and to realize that the people haven't changed. Your presentation isn't where it needs to be. The tools you're using in your business aren't where they need to be. That's why we consistently come up with new tools. We're in the most inventive phase that we've been in a long time. We're innovating, we're inventing, and we're getting better at giving you the tools because it is tough out there. Leads are expensive. Now's not the time to save money and cut back on the value you're offering. Now's the time to go forward with bold steps and make sure that you're giving your reps the tools that they need so that they can become awesome, because awesome breeds more awesome. Success breeds success. So that's the sales interview. If you'll indulge me, I'm going to spend 5 minutes and give you what pays for all these calls. I'm going to give you some information and a little bit of an infomercial on some cool things that we're doing, because our whole goal is to fuel impressive results. We want you to do much better. That's how we get paid. We get paid when you do better, which is why we do these calls. It's not just about getting on the phone and selling you soap. There's lots of soap companies you can buy soap from. What we try to do is be value added, because what we've done for 25 years is led this industry in consistently great, innovative information. And that's our goal, is to constantly do that. And you're going to see some really cool stuff coming out over the next 3 to 4 months. We're constantly working on our art and our trade and to improve your art and your trade. One of the things we try to do is get people to open their eyes when they swing. Sometimes it's just that easy. The purpose of these calls is to get you to open your eyes and look at the ball when you're hitting the ball. You can hit the ball with your eyes closed. I got to tell you, it makes a world of difference to open your eyes and look at your business and not just hack away with the golf club. You can have the perfect swing, but still it's easier if you just open your eyes. So my goal today is, hopefully I've opened your eyes and you start looking at your business differently. And we're going to do these calls almost every Tuesday. Trying to do them as consistently and what works with my schedule to do these every Tuesday. Typically they last somewhere under an hour. And I'm going to be breaking down these processes so that hopefully I've given you some information. Don't be overwhelmed and try to apply everything that you learned today, but try to find one thing that you can take action on. I get the great pleasure of speaking all over the world. I get paid a lot of money to go in and speak to companies. And inevitably, everybody, wow, that was a great talk, whether it was or not. Most people are polite. They applaud. They thank you afterwards. The real question is do they take action? There is no shortage of information. The shortage is action. What will you do today to open your eyes and implement at least one thing that will make a difference? Doing one thing every day, getting 1 degree better over 180 days, you can turn your entire business around and improve it vastly. Raise your expectations and make yourself goals, short-term, long-term. Find an X factor that will drive you and open your eyes and drive the ball and enjoy the game. Here's my pitch for you today. I'm on my legal analogies today. Literally what giving a presentation is you're convicting somebody's water. You're charging and prosecuting somebody's water of not being good. We're charging them with having bad water in their house, and what you see on the screen today are the scales of justice. They don't believe necessarily when most people arrive at their home. They have skeptical attitudes, lack of trust, no interest, and they really don't believe their water's guilty of anything. Procter & Gamble's been covering up the whole bad water scheme for years. It's a giant conspiracy by the soap companies to get people to continue to cover up the fact that they have bad water. We get used to the taste of the water. Your body does that. Oh, this water's not so bad. That's why new homeowners have always been easy sales, because they move in and they're shocked at the dramatic difference. That's why when you go out of town and you show up in Las Vegas, you go, oh my gosh, how can anybody drink this stuff? It smells bad. And the people there go, well, it's not bad. It used to bother me. It doesn't anymore. And we have Procter & Gamble in the biggest conspiracy ever, treating the water one box at a time. The water's guilty. It's guilty of being bad, and our job is to improve it. Our job is to convict it to the jury. And to the degree that the jury sentenced that water to death and to get out of the house is how well you do in the home. These are the scales of justice. There's no value when you walk in the door. A lot of reps, when they leave, there's still no value. What we try to do is put a 25-pound bound on the scales of justice so that the value so far outweighs everything else that it overcomes everything. That value is done in the sales presentation. It's done by having a great rep. It's done by doing a powerful presentation. It's done by demonstrating and clearly illustrating, by bringing in third-party evidence like a dishwasher's owner's manual that proves that there's irrefutable evidence of the absolute necessity. It brings in circumstantial evidence that, hey, all the people that really know what they're doing, car washes and restaurants and commercial places that really know what they're doing, hotels, they spend money to treat their water. The consumer's the only one being robbed by the soap companies to treat their water one box at a time. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, please, we've got to convict your water and get it out of here. It's stealing your money. It's ruining your appliances. It's doing damage behind the scenes. Everything you do weighs down the value side. And when the value outweighs the cost, you never have to apologize about price. Our goal is to help you do that. Ultimately, when your reps hit the wall, which they usually do, very few people go, yes, I'll take one. Yes, I'll take one. You're not going to see 3 people in a row that go, yes, I'll take one. Ultimately, it's quality salespeople that get you out of the gate. And they need leads, and they need to do a great presentation. But when they hit the wall, they need to have the perseverance, and in their hearts, they have to know that they're offering unbeatable value, and they will go over the wall. It's the value that makes the difference. And you can test that. It's real easy to test this. Offer a $25,000 Visa debit card with every sale. your demonstration to have to be about 10 minutes. As long as they believe you and trust you that they were going to get this debit card worth $25,000, doesn't matter. You could sell these things for an extra $500. You could sell them for $10,000. It wouldn't matter. You could sell them for $22,000 and you'd probably still be okay. Cost doesn't matter. Value does. It's the value that gets you over the wall. Our Go Healthy program. And if you haven't seen it, you haven't understood it, when you get it, you will get it, and you won't ever look back. We've expanded what's been done in this industry. We've gotten out of the box, and we've expanded savings and value. We've done it in a way that most people aren't yet getting. We've done it in a way that makes selling so much easier. We've done it in a way that will help retain your salespeople, will build your business, reduce your lead costs. If you close 50% instead of 20%, what's that do for your lead cost? If you close 20% instead of 30%, if you liken that to the major leagues, if you bat 200 versus 300, where are you in earnings? If you bat 400 versus 200, where are you in earnings? You're in the Hall of Fame with endorsements. Imagine if you're batting 700. The Yankees pay you $50 million a year. This has always been the concept. Good water doesn't cost, it pays. I believe that to be extremely true. We used to be limited by showing people 7 products and the money they're going to save on soap. There's only so big of a soap package that you can give away that people get excited about. And that's why we got a little bit smarter. And that's why we invested millions of dollars to bring to you the iPhone. But a lot of you are still using the iPhone. Even the ones that have switched to this program are using the iPhone, but you're only using it as a paperweight. You're not getting the full benefit of the iPhone. You haven't downloaded the apps. You haven't explored everything the iPhone can do. Some of you are still using Motorola brick phones. Some of you aren't using the phone at all. The Go Healthy program, and we're working on some killer new literature for this, but if you just go online, and a lot of people have computers, if you get on and you show them, this program expands the savings. It helps get the bad water out of the house. It expands the savings to a whole multitude of things that people are paying for anyway. If it helps you close 2 extra deals a month, it'd be worth offering everybody a bigger pack. So many people look at this backwards. They go, well, I don't want to spend an extra couple $100 on a soap pack. We sold 25 deals. That's $5,000 that would cost me. Wrong. It doesn't cost you anything. All you got to do in this environment, it's selling at $6,000 and $7,000, even $4,000 or $5,000. If it improves your closing rate just a little bit, if it retains a rep long enough that he gets good, if it gets one referral, it pays for the whole program. You can raise your price and cover the cost. And what we are really seeing, a tremendous success, is for the dealers that are bold enough to go to more value. Value tips the scales of justice. Value convicts and gets the water out. If you can offer something that has a $7,000 value, this isn't savings, this is value. And I put some slides together. They're not great, but it'll illustrate what I'm talking about here. But the membership that we sell, and we're selling memberships for $300, that's $3,000 in value. That's better in some cases than giving people a Visa card for 25 grand. Over 10 years, I would tell you that most people, if they engage in healthy living, will save way more than they would if you gave them a $25,000 Visa debit card. And here's why. You have to look at this. For instance, if you don't have a membership and somebody just wanted to use good soap products and they wanted to go buy a year's worth of soap, we sell that package for $549. That's a pretty good deal anyway. You can't go to the store and buy these products to last you up to a year for $549. If you took what all of these products made, you couldn't buy them for $549. Over 10 years, if you just went online, bought this pack for $549, Our member price is only $89.87. They save $459 over 10 years. That offers that family $4,596 in savings, and that offers even more savings over 10 years if they were buying store brand soap. Right now, gas is so expensive, people can spend $10 just going to the store and gas. Walmart's 6 miles from my house. It's 12 miles one way, or round trip. I get 12 miles to the gallon in my truck. Cost me $4 just to drive to Walmart if I run out of soap. Prices are going up. That's a huge savings. But now get out of soap, and this is what all that soap would look like. To go out and buy that soap would cost them $2,700 and some dollars. But the money that soap would save them is over $4,500. Cookware. What if somebody saw a set of cookware at the show? What if they were at the home show and they saw a set of cookware? This is home show season. Go and look what they're selling cookware for. Average cookware at the home show is selling in excess of $2,500. We sell this set of cookware that is sold in the home by over 400 people that sell cookware for a living for $1,990. Our member price on it's $379. That gives them a savings of $1,600 if they were to buy cookware. And here's some more stuff that we probably haven't thought about, but this is a personal example for me. Vitamin code. These are the vitamins, the two that primary vitamins that I took or still take. Great vitamins. If you're over 50, you should be on both of these products. If you go to Whole Foods, the retail price on the enzymes are $49. Our member price is $30. That's $19.65 a month you would save. Same thing on the vitamin code vitamins. Member price $42, retail $69. That's $27.46. Now this just happens to be for me, but my annual savings, if I were to join and just been given a membership because I was taking these vitamins anyway, would be $565 just on 2 products on these vitamins. And we get the emails. These are real numbers. We've expanded the capability of selling by greatly expanding the savings. The value is in the membership. The gravy are the bonus points. The real value is to give somebody a 10-year membership so that there's no question that if they spend $7,000 for a water system, this will weigh the scales. Here's another example for you. Dead Sea Skincare. Now, granted, not everyone you're seeing is using Dead Sea skincare products. Most people would like to, but they can't afford them. These are being sold in about every mall in America right now. I was in Las Vegas walking around. There was 3 kiosks in the factory outlet store selling these Dead Sea products. A lot of people are spending $300 a month or more on Dead Sea products. Now, some of these things last much longer than a month. So I figured if you only bought these 5 minimal products once every 6 months, and if you talk to the women that do this, they tell you they spend a lot of money on these products. That's $459 in annual savings just on skincare on 5 products. That number could be double that. Over 10 years, that's $4,500 in savings. We can go on in illustrating the savings. We have 12,000 food products. Now, food's really competitive. But from what I can see, we're typically 5 to 15% lower on all the wonderful name brand products that you can buy online on our products. We added a section with 12,000 items that people can buy, everything from kosher to gluten-free to diabetic. But if I only saved you $200 a year on your food, that'd be significant. We could save you $400 or $500 on your skincare, $400 or $500 on your vitamins a year. You can amortize the cost of the system, including interest, over 20 years, and if you give them a 10-year membership and the value, it tips the scales. We can increase your sales, but you got to go and you got to look at this and go, how can we add so much value? Don't look at the cost, look at how much you're going to make. It's a backwards way to look at it. Our products don't cost money, they make money. In most cases, people could raise their price to make more, to pay the reps more, and to give the people greater value. So if it cost you $500 to give away a $25,000 Visa gift card, would you do it? Well, of course. And what we have, I would dare say, may be worth more than $25,000 to people over the next 10 years. You throw in the points, and it's an extraordinary value. We could sell the membership and not put points in this program at all, and it'd still be a good value. And if we charged you $500 for a 10-year membership and you gave it away, costing you $50 a year to get per year for a membership to give this away to people, we'd still be doing you a service. But when we throw in over 1,000 products and 25,000 points, and people can get cookware and soap, are you kidding me? This is an unbelievable value. It's just a matter of getting people sold on it, presenting it, and finding the right salespeople. So I'm right at my hour. I'm going to conclude this in my portion. I want to thank everybody